what if I took this microneedling concept, but also there's a few things I would like to change about it. I don't think it needs to be so invasive. We don't need that whole bloody effect, vampire facial. Like, I don't see that. I just want to get the product into the skin.
Welcome back to the Pretty Profit Podcast, where beauty, business, and results come together. I'm Marcia Mehrali, your host, and today I am thrilled to sit down with Camille Trammell, Communications Director at Procell Therapies. If you've ever wondered what's behind the buzz of microchanneling and how this treatment is transforming both skin and the spa industry, you're in the right place. And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss an episode. Wow, we have a great guest today. Her name is Camille Trammell, and we can't wait to get started with her. We tried for so long to get a representative from this company. I am so excited to finally have you here. Welcome to the show. And tell us just a little bit about your role at Procell, your background, and your passion for skin health.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. This is my first podcast that I've ever done. So thank you. I have been with Procell for 5 years now. It seems like it was 2 seconds ago. But really my background was just that very early on in around 2019, I just wanted to be a part of it so bad. A little bit about me is that in high school, I just said, I can't do this and I want to go into beauty. And I did career school instead of traditional high school. And I just jumped right into aesthetics. And I worked doing facials and spray tanning from the time I was 16 on. And then I had gone to college and got a little bit more into communications and marketing and social media and things like that. So it was, around 2019, I was doing a lot of writing in the aesthetic space, especially around med spas and treatments. And, everything was about Botox and fillers. We're talking 2016, 2017. Lip filler was the new hot thing, Kylie Jenner with her lip filler. Everybody was talking about that. But I had experienced a lot of bad acne and had these acne scars. And I was writing and kind of doing this blog writing series about acne scarring and trying this new thing called microneedling. And I was trying out all these different treatments for acne scarring. And by far, microneedling was the best thing that I had come across. And then I had microneedling with PRP, which was even better. And one of the final things that I wrote in this series was, gosh, I love microneedling. I love it with PRP. I wish they could take my PRP and make it in the lab because I'm icky about blood and I don't like getting my blood drawn.
Yeah.
And I wish I didn't have to look so scary for a few days.
Yes.
So I could do it more often because at the time I was young, I was living in New York City. I did not have time to take 3 to 5 days and look, post the old school microneedling where it was very bloody and, you had a lot skin redness for peeling, things like that. So that was one of the final things I had said in this blog series that I wrote. And just a few months later, I had gotten in contact by somebody at Procell, and they were trying to find somebody who could help market the company and help sort of get this really small concept by Dr. Mitchell Schwartz more off the ground. And I was like, did you guys read my mind? I wrote this whole thing about this concept. I'm like, I just wish, PRP could exist from a lab. And I wish I didn't have to have all this downtime. And you guys are a microneedling type style company that doesn't have downtime and doesn't. And I was like, there is no way this is real. I tried it.
Even the next day, you look fantastic.
Exactly. It was I didn't believe it. And I was like, listen, if this was real, everybody would know about it. And they were like, that's the whole point. Like, we need somebody to help get this word out. And we need somebody savvy with social media and things like that. So that's really where I came on super early with Dr. Mitchell Schwartz and his son Dan. And they were really just kind of ground up building this brand. I think a lot of people think Procell started like real big private equity type company. It is such a grassroots company.
How did he discover it? How did he discover that you didn't have to be bloodied and bruised in order to get a really great result?
Yeah, it was really Dr. Schwartz. So some background on him is that he's been a dermatologist for 37 years. And, at private practice, that's really where he stayed. And in the early 2000s, like 2007, 2008, around that time, that's when you really started to see people be more interested in things like Botox and getting treatments done for anti-aging purposes and aesthetic purposes, which was a newer concept. And he had his whole practice, and a lot of his patients were requesting these types of things. So he said, okay, and he's doing research, and early on he was doing like microdermabrasion, where it was like really intense and there's like blood everywhere and things like that, and lasers and stuff like that. But he is really big into academia, Dr. Schwartz is. He has a research background. So if you know anything about him, like if you knew him on a personal level, he has an office. He's always in his little office in Florida, like reading the newest scientific study. And so keeping up with the science, there was some new studies that came out about actually it was for drug delivery of estrogen. But it was all about how the product penetration with this new thing called microneedling of these products really got these products into the skin so much better than any type of topical application. And then he also started to carry a line of something called growth factors in this product for his clients who wanted to treat fine lines, wrinkles, things like that. And he was seeing incredible results with these topical growth factors, kind of home care style. He really just had this revelation in his head all of a sudden, like, what if I combined these two things, growth factors, and then what if I took this microneedling concept, but also there's a few things I would like to change about it. I don't think it needs to be so invasive. We don't need that whole bloody effect, vampire facial. Like, I don't see that. I just want to get the product into the skin. What would happen if I combined that? And that's when he and his esthetician at his practice developed this concept together. They got an engineer on it. They got a really great motor for this device. And he said, we're going to do this stamping technique instead of this dragging technique, because we're really just trying to get the product into the skin, not necessarily damage the skin so much, because the growth factors are what is going to heal the skin, not your own healing response from damage. And so it really was just this idea that he had. They tried it, and it was such a home run.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about the difference between the microchanneling and microneedling, because we've all done the microneedling. So hopefully I've repaired my skin with my microchanneling, because I've probably damaged it when I microneedled. So tell us a little bit about the differences.
Yeah, traditional microneedling, and a lot of people think they're interchangeable, but microneedling in the traditional sense stands on the mechanism of action is that you're damaging your own skin, typically into the dermis, to elicit a healing response naturally by your body that you would naturally have, to any trauma to your skin. You get a cut, it heals. That's the general kind of concept there. Microchanneling is actually a very different concept, because you're not relying at all on this damaging aspect. There's no dragging, there's no blood, there's nothing like that. Really, what microchanneling is this stamping technique where it's the highest level of product penetration with these fine little points. Sometimes people refer to them as needles, but they are so short that they don't even constitute actually as a needle, because they're not going through your skin. It's really staying in that non-living layer of your skin right on top. But what they've seen in studies is that the product penetration of things like growth factors is actually so much higher when you use this type of technique, because once you start microneedling, actually, you start to pull fluid and you start to bleed, and it will push out anything you try to really put on the skin. So you are not getting that absorption anywhere near like microchanneling. And they are just really, when you kind of think about it, oh, okay, this is sort of the past before, it was something that microneedling was developed really because tattoo equipment, they started to learn, oh my gosh, when you dry needle a scar, it sort of starts to heal. And it really, that's what microneedling is more based on. And microchanneling is just this concept of how much channels can we make into the skin to have the highest level possible of product absorption. And then the growth factors are signals to your skin. They're derived from stem cells. So if you get a cut on your knee, what would happen is stem cells would travel to the area and they would produce these little proteins called growth factors. And they're essentially little instructions saying, hey, heal yourself, heal yourself, heal yourself.
Yeah, because if you're not healing properly, that's because we lose our stem cells. And there's like a lot of stem cell loss as you age, just like collagen loss, in your body as you do age. So you really need those stem cells to help with the healing process. And to get them into your body that way is really amazing. Someone came in my spa today and looked at me and she said, "You never age." I was like, oh my God. Well, you need to come here more often, I would say. you know, so that's really a big compliment to your company because I'm a Procell regular as I'm aging. I want to keep that going. And my clients who do the Procell treatment not only do their sessions with me, they come back in a year to do more sessions so they could keep it going and not have to lose so much of it. So, at beneath the surface, what we like to do also with the Procell therapies is you need to start with a clean face. Definitely come in for a facial. And let us check out your skin. Let's see if this is something that would benefit you or not, and why. So you would get a facial. We would definitely clean your skin out, and then 2 weeks after, we would start your treatment. So as you're going through the Procell therapy treatment and the microchanneling, you also need to clean your skin in between because you're getting that cellular turnover. You're out in the world. You're getting blackheads. Things are still happening. So you definitely need to do a Procell facial regimen. We always recommend, it depends on the age, but most of my clients that are coming in for the microchanneling are older, more like on my age. I'm going to say I'm older too. So they need a treatment series of 6. If you are younger and like Camille has said, to protect your skin from the environment and just keep it kind of your DNA, repairing itself so that it doesn't get to the point when you're getting older that you have these spots, I would always suggest maybe 3 sessions. And do that once a year and a half. We also sell the collagen, which I love to sell with it because again, every year you're losing 1%. So even if you're younger, I would say start at 30. The collagen also has the biotin and keratin in it, and it's high. You've heard me talk about how highly absorbable it is. So you want to do that along with the treatment because your results really last longer and quickly. If you're putting a collagen in that's highly absorbable and you're producing collagen with the treatment, you're going to look great. In fact, I got a phone call also yesterday that said, I think it's time for my Procell treatment.
Like they can always tell looking at themselves. They're like, Oh, it's time. And I always say, the results are permanent, but you do continue to age after your first series. So you kind of want that. Um,
Right.
you want to
You want it to keep
top
going.
top it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And really age is such a big factor with the treatment because like you said, as you age, your stem cell count decreases. So you're always going to have less and less ability to heal those movements over time. Really, a wrinkle, when you think about it, is just dysregulated healing. You're making these motions all the time. And over time, when your stem cell count decreases, you're not able to heal those movements like you used to be able to. So, 50, 60, like you really start to not be able to heal. And then you get a wrinkle that really forms and stays there. But we can apply the growth factors, we can infuse that into the skin, and we can help you heal it up.
Right. Well, let's talk about the growth factors. Let's talk about I know that Procell just came out with a new serum.
Yes, we did in April.
Yeah.
And
So tell us a little bit about that.
yes, so it was in development for 3 years. Dr. Schwartz, um, everything that he does with the serum, he always wants it to be on the most cutting edge. And he is so dedicated to staying with what is the very best thing that we can make this system. The device is obviously a part of the system, and the serums, they go together. So if there was ever a point where the serums could even be better, that was something that he wanted to analyze, test, and then develop if it was time to make them even better because every year science is getting better and better. Ingredients are getting stronger. And one of those things was that he wanted to start using new growth factor profile based on his research and some of his case studies that they did with these more lab made growth factors. And every year, like they are just able to make these more potent. So it was upping the growth factor profile efficacy. That was number one to the new serum. And then the second kind of aspect to it was that he added a new type of enzyme to the serum called DNA repair enzymes. And so these enzymes actually it was another one of these things where he said, there's all this research out here and like all of this looks so promising, but like nobody's doing this. I'm going to do it. Just like his, first invention with microchanneling and growth factors. So, wow, there's this thing called DNA repair enzymes, and they are literally helping reverse all the DNA damage from the sun, environment, things like that. And it's just not something you hear too much in skincare, I don't think.
No, and I really like that science behind it, repairing your cells.
Yes,
That's really
it's
great.
repairing
Yeah.
your DNA.
Oh,
And
DNA.
yes, it's actually
Okay.
when you get you're out in the sun, obviously, sunburn, spots, things like that, they come from the sunlight actually damaging your skin's DNA. And your body constantly is repairing its damaged DNA. And something like aging and collagen loss are directly linked to the rate that your body can repair its DNA. So if you are out in the sun all the time, you are constantly exposing yourself to damaging your DNA, and your body, it slowly, but it does repair it. But during that period of time, when your body releases these chemicals basically that say, help me, I'm damaged, I need you to repair, help me. And actually that chemical release, it's this matrix, is shown to degrade collagen. So have you ever seen those like pictures where it's like this twin wore sunscreen her whole life and this twin didn't? And the one twin who never wore sunscreen constantly was having their DNA of their skin cells damaged, and they have these deep wrinkles and they have this collagen loss and they have dark spots all over their face. That's because their skin was very slow to heal that damage. But the faster, if you can prevent the damage, that's the best, right? But that's the only thing in skincare we've ever been able to do is say, hey, never go out in the sun and only wear sunscreen. Please be a vampire. And then if you do accidentally ever get a sunburn, like that sucks, And there was never really anything for that. But now we have this way, and it's these 3 DNA repair enzymes.
S- So let's talk about if the damage is already there. You've aged, you've done all the bad stuff, and I'm coming at you with the Procell. So does that help with the getting rid of spots with this serum?
Yes. So the spots, the sun damage, that collagen loss, these are all things that we're helping your body repair the DNA. If you were to look at some of the case studies before and after, you would see, if you had melasma, dark spots on the skin, that starts to lighten up after a few treatments. You would see that really with a Procell treatment, like an older 1.0 treatment. You would have seen that anyway, just because growth factors help with that cellular communication anyway. But now we have this new, it's another add on to it to really help, especially if you're experiencing stress is a big one. People don't think about it, but oxidative stress to your skin, that's something that will damage your skin's DNA and it needs repaired. So we're not even just talking about sun.
So if you live in a city, live and work in a city.
Yes. They've seen actually pollution, people's skin, DNA damage is higher. They report there's a city in Germany right by that really big highway where there's so much exhaust. And if you live within a mile of it, there's a study that shows that they have a lot more DNA damage to their skin just because of the pollution alone. So big cities, stress is always such a sneaky one, I would say. Sun's the big
So I
one.
would say you would also need some antioxidants to put on there,
Yes.
some serums to try to
Yes.
protect.
Yeah, Dr. Schwartz, he loves this concept called the beauty skin pyramid, and
Mhm.
antioxidants are in that. There's protection, and then there's things like antioxidants, and then the very top of the skin beauty pyramid is growth factors. And so he's really big on eating, eat your pomegranate.
Yeah, if you look over our past episodes, I had, Karen O'Sullivan on there talking about eating for beauty, which I loved. And had to take a bunch of notes. I have to go back and re-look at that. And also we had Adrienne Carbonell talk about the collagen and antioxidants to take internally because the collagen and the antioxidants I sell at our spa at Beneath the Surface are highly absorbable liposomal supplements. So I sell a lot of the collagen with the Procell treatment because their result is so much better.
I love that you do that because it's so ingrained really in Dr. Schwartz's ethos. When he would have clients come in and they wanted these anti-aging treatments, he said, okay, but we're going to do these treatments on the outside, but I need you to also focus on the inside. And he would actually give them this document, this sheet that he made about what kind of things to eat, whole foods, sun protection, stuff like that. And he wanted his patients to also be working out and eating right because he felt like if you're going to invest time, money, all this effort into these outside treatments, the least you could do too is these internal treatments as well to support it.
It's just you don't just come in and get a treatment and look good for the rest of your life. It's consistency with diet and getting the treatments and workout. Total wellness lifestyle all over. Skin's the largest organ. You have to take care of it. It absorbs a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of people think about it like this external thing because it's your skin, but really you're talking about your whole body here. Yeah. If your organs and your body is really taken care of so well on the inside, you're going to see it on the outside.
Yes. You'll see it in your eyes, your hair, your nails, all of it. All those beauty things that we want to take care of quickly or not have any issues with. So I'm going to talk about how at Beneath the Surface we do the Procell treatment. Just so people are understanding the treatment, not just learning about the process and the serums that we use. So, what we do is that we do numb your face. We want you to come in, we want you to be comfortable. We do clean and numb your face. You sit for about 20 minutes. We feel that's the appropriate time. We kind of played with that, but we want you to be numb. You're not in any pain. I've done the Procell to my face. Wi- I'm doing it to my face myself and without numbing, and I'm fine. So it's really not that painful, but I want people to feel comfortable because when you hear about microchanneling or microneedling, you get a little scared. And then we go ahead and do the treatment. It's a gun. I wish I had it with me. And it has your needle on the end. We always start with the low with the 0.25. You need to get red, unfortunately. You want things to be red and working, but we are channeling. So we're just kind of stamping the face. We're not doing a circular motion. We're putting the serums on as well as we're going through your whole face and neck. When we're done, we do put a mask on you. We want to calm your skin down and have you relax a bit, get some hydration into the skin as well. So it's a lot of we're doing something and waiting. I always tell people to bring a book on tape or listen to the Pretty Profit podcast while you wait. Get some education, and then I come back in and we remove that. And then I always massage in whatever's the residues left on the mask. And then I finish with more of the serum. If any of that is left in the container, I always hand it off to you. And then we send you home with 2 serums to start using the next day. So how did I do? Do we do it correctly?
Yeah, you've definitely covered it. And like you said, you do want to get a slight immune response, is what we call it. So you do want to get that redness. I don't want to say like this is something where you never see redness. What we want to do is just enough trigger your body to have an immune response. And then we turn it off. We put the serum on there, very anti-inflammatory, and then any transepidermal water loss, that's why that mask is going on. So you're not going to see the peeling and you're not going to see lots of damage because it was just the slightest damage to your skin barrier, slight immune reaction, quick turn off, and then you're going to look completely normal again in 90 minutes. And you're not going to, yeah, if you need to go to dinner.
You start to see your body moving. I remember the first time I did it, I come home and he's like, "Oh, you got a facial?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, it looks nice." And then 3 days later, my husband looked at me again and said, "Did you get another facial?"
Oh, that's so funny.
I was like, "No."
It's that glass skin effect. Like right
Yes.
after, people will always be like, is it Botox? Because, people get Botox and it'll kind of really smooth your skin out. But it is like a little bit of an effect like that. I think it's great because clients can see immediate results, really from plumping that skin up and that hydration being up. And then it just gets better and better. So no, it's really great for the instant gratification too.
So even if people get Botox, I've done a couple people because not that it's hard, but I feel like they don't see the result, but they're still taking care of their skin. So is it recommended to do with people who Botox?
I would say it's Botox. I think for really deep structural movements, when people, like, if they really have, big muscular movements that they're like, this is something I want to fix, or they're really jowling, things like that, or they're really, they make movements that they want to stop doing, I'm like, Botox is the right thing for you. If you're talking about fine lines or these little wrinkles, you don't necessarily need to do Botox.
But is it okay if you're Botox to have some, to take care of your skin? I know that they're Botox, but they still have, to take care of their skin.
We have so many people that combine their protocols with other modalities, for sure, and other treatments like, if you have volume loss, right? Procell is not necessarily going to tackle volume loss if you've lost a lot of, say, cheek volume due to aging. If fillers are the best option for you with that, doing both, that's a stackable treatment.
I think it kind of goes together. Yeah. Because even though you're doing those things and you look great right away after them, because they're, it's not, I guess, not as natural. Um, so I would think you still need to take care of your skin.
Yeah, I would say at a baseline, Procell is for everybody. We do see a lot of people who they're like, I want to do something to my skin. But I don't know about Botox. I don't want to like look different. I don't, want to fill my face with fillers and like all of a sudden look like a different person to look younger. I just want to look younger, but look exactly like myself. That's where we're talking about, okay, rejuvenation style treatments. And that's where Procell is a part of that conversation. One of the most heartfelt things with client stories is definitely scar revision. And scarring, when you think about it from a scientific standpoint, is just dysregulated healing. Along the way, those skin cells in that area, they didn't heal correctly as they should. There was an overproduction of collagen at some point. There was dysregulation. And what Procell does to something like a scar is essentially reactivates the area, helps those cells in that area up that communication and reactivate the healing response, which even if it's 20 years old, you can still activate that healing response and start treating something like a scar. We're not magicians here, right? But when you look at that before and after, you're like, oh my gosh, wow.
So, well, she has a scar. Well, a lot of women, my daughter had a C-section. So, can you work on other scars on your body?
Absolutely. That's another fun thing with Procell is that there's tips for all over your body. We have smaller tips for if you do have something like a C-section scar, and we're really focusing on that precision area. Then we have the face tips, but then body tips as well. Some people have large areas of stretch marks. Stretch marks really are just a scar. And so anywhere on the body you can treat. C-section scars, I mean, one of the biggest ones that we see people treating, scars from surgery underneath the breast, people who have skin removal surgery from weight loss. That's another really big and popular one. Yeah, the tummy tuck. We'll see that all the time. And, some people, they think, oh, I just need to put these silicone sheets on and things like that, which those are great. But once you're cleared, typically around 6 months, post-surgery, as long as your doctor says, this isn't too hypertrophic of a scar, you're not somebody who keloids, that is a contraindication. As long as you're cleared in that way, then you can go ahead and start a series of treatments.
So you could actually, as an esthetician, partner with a med spa that are doing these treatments.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a medical only treatment because, we're staying in those non-living layers of the skin. So technically it's a cosmetic treatment. And, some people, they prefer not feeling like going into, a doctor's office, and it's kind of that sterile environment. They want that boutique feel. They want to be treated by esthetician more in a setting like that.
Let's talk about, since we're talking about other areas of the body, I know I will be taking a class on Monday to become more familiar with the hair.
Yes. This month, August, we dedicated everything to really talking about our hair regrowth serum. Was kind of always something quietly in the background. But especially in the past year, we've just seen it absolutely explode with estheticians who, maybe their focus has always been skin, like anti-aging or, acne scarring. And they're like, plus hair restoration? Hello? What?
Hello.
Hello? Also, whipping this
Yes.
out.
We want to do it with our Japanese head spa because
Oh
you
my
have to have a
gosh.
clean scalp. So
Yeah.
you relax them and then you can just needle them right after.
Yes. And
Is it painful? I've never done it to myself. Do you
I
know?
don't personally ever feel like Procell's painful. That might just be me because I'm used to it. 0.25 and 0.5, I don't ever find to be painful. And those are the only depths really that you would use for hair restoration. So yeah, it was just one of these things where they discovered that there is also a growth factor that really influences the hair follicle in regenerating hair follicles. And as you know, or maybe not as you know, because I don't know if you went to hair school. I am a master cosmetologist, so I did hair, skin, and nails. So for me, I'm familiar with the phases of growth of hair, anagen, and telogen, and catagen. And essentially, your hair goes through these phases where it is dormant and it's sleeping, it's waking up, it's growing, and then it falls out. And that's the cycle of a hair follicle. And when you see hair loss, really, it's this your hair follicle has gotten stuck in that resting phase. And for whatever outside influence reason, whether it be hormonal or
Dry shampoo.
yeah, like anything. Actually, we see tension,
Clogging.
alopecia. If you pull on your hair too much, you could like damage it, cause inflammation. Whatever the cause of making that hair follicle stay in that dormant phase, what this growth factor serum that we have for hair does is reactivates those follicles and wakes them back up. And then once they're woken up, you could have hair loss, for 5 years and it's a bald spot. And those follicles will wake back up and start growing hair again. And same concept with Procell to the face. The device is really just getting those growth factors in the just best possible way, as much into the skin, infused in there as possible.
So if there's inflammation on their scalp, can we still do the needling on
That's
there?
a really good question. My protocol wise, the best thing we see is when, say, there is some type of inflammation happening, we say address that first, right? If you are somebody, a lot of women, for example, they'll lose they'll get male pattern baldness when they have a condition called PCOS. And that's where there's a lot of hormones that are kind of off balance, and you have a lot of testosterone. And it's actually testosterone is causing you to have hair loss. So we say, hey, go to your doctor first. Let's get you balanced out and evened out. Sometimes women take supplements, things like that. If you did have tension alopecia, and that's the reason for your hair loss, right? Like braids, extensions, things like that. We say, hey, you got to take a break from the extensions. Okay. You don't want to keep contributing to that inflammation while you're trying to reverse the damage from the inflammation. So that first step is always, hey, what can you do to fix the problem first? And then we can undo the damage and we can wake those follicles back up. Yeah. So lots of stuff there too, like taking supplements, there's a million different things that people can do to kind of, again, holistically.
Well, beneath the surface, we have these wonderful supplements.
Yeah. You
always
holistically approaching it, it's always going to help. I will say, like, you could start a series of treatments for whatever reason. You don't always have to do it first. Some people, they get COVID, they lose hair. Then you can just jump right back in. Postpartum hair loss, you're fine to just like get started.
Yeah. Hair loss can happen even after you have any type of surgery because of the stress that your body goes through and that just reacts. I was working on a client's face. She had half a facelift and she wanted to keep her, that lift. Obviously, she wanted to continue and make her skin better. So as we were doing it, she actually had a childhood dent here. No scar, just like a dent. Like she hit her head and that was that. She wasn't even concerned about it. And after the 6 treatments, I remember touching her face or washing her face. And I said, wait a minute, this isn't as deep as, because a lot of times I do things by touch because I can feel things more than I can see things. And she said, I know, it's starting to go away. So I thought it was amazing. So she's been coming to me for years now. I love it when you get a great result and they just keep coming.
And then they're like with you forever. Yeah.
They're with you forever. Yes. And it's and you can't even tell anymore.
Wow.
She comes every year, does her treatments.
I wonder if it was just like a dysregulated, like collagen
Yeah.
structure kind of underneath the skin that for whatever
Yes.
reason,
Yeah. It
it's
just
just
had,
like regenerated that area from childhood.
right.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm
She
telling
said
you,
she
like,
tried to Botox it and do other things, and
I'm
it didn't work.
telling you, people think these older, like, injuries or, like, things they've had forever, like you said, is from
Yeah.
childhood. Um, that doesn't
Yeah. And
matter
she
when
wasn't
you're
even
talking
concerned
about
about it.
putting growth factors
Hmm.
and stimulating healing in an area. You could have a scar or injury, something on your face from apparently childhood,
Yes.
and it will still address it. That's
Yes.
a really
Yes.
amazing story. Wow.
And always take, if anyone out there is thinking about doing the microchanneling, always take a before picture and an after when you're actually done with all of it. Because a lot of times you don't see the little changes that are happening on your skin because they're just small little changes. But when you see before and you see the after, you really see the change that has taken place. I've had a couple clients say, I don't see a change until I hand them the before and after. Yeah. They're like, wow, that's quite a change. So there always is a change. It might not be the change you're looking for. You might have to do something else, but the change is definitely happening. We, it is our go-to treatment. We love this treatment.
The only people that Procell has ever not worked for, it's really strange. It's the people that never took a before and after photo. That's that's
Interesting.
that's that's
Ah.
our ongoing joke, is that the only person it doesn't work for and you don't see a noticeable change are the people who don't take those before and after pictures. And yeah, of course, it's just about seeing yourself in the mirror every day. That perception, you completely forget like what you looked
And
like
we all
4
have
months
our
ago.
magnifiers, right?
Right,
So we're staring at every wrinkle. Well, you didn't get that wrinkle out.
right.
You're like, what wrinkle?
But yeah, any client I've ever seen, you're gonna see a visible improvement no matter what. Absolutely.
So here you see some changes with this client. She had a lot of, acne on the jawline. So what we did was we went in and we really cleaned her out. Okay. After we were done cleaning her out, she did have some scarring involved and some dark spots on her jaw. So we started to do the microchanneling, and it is amazing her before and after. Her scarring is literally gone. This is a younger girl. She's in her mid to late 30s, but her face looked great. So it wasn't about just, lifting or elasticity or getting rid of wrinkles because she didn't have wrinkles. It was about her scarring and getting rid of those dark spots. So this woman, she is obviously aging, and she wanted to do something with her skin. So her before picture, she's one of them that said, I didn't notice a difference. So I don't think the 6 series worked until I gave her the before and after. And then she didn't even answer me. And then the next time she came in, I said, well, you didn't even answer me. But she's like, you're right. I did. Because people were telling her how great she looked after the treatment. And what her issue was, she wanted to improve her elasticity and her collagen. So also when you're hydrating and taking care of your skin during the treatment, as along with their one Procell serums and their after treatment, the skin naturally lifts. You're sagging because your skin is just dehydrated and it's just, looking flat. So it actually lifted, and she has never gone back to that before picture. She comes every year. She did the first treatment. She did a series of 6, and now every year she does a series of 3 because she's on the collagen. So she takes the collagen throughout the year and does her Procell treatments with us. So, are there any skincare myths that you know of that we can bust right now?
I feel like the biggest one is that we just keep talking about is that this thing that you've had forever is something that it's a scar, it's whatever, and it's something that you are going to just have forever, and that's what it's like. I used to have actually, she was my therapist, and she said, yes, I've had these scars forever. I've had the best lasers in the world, and they did nothing. And this is just what I have now, and I'm okay with it. And I was like, let me hold your hand when I tell you this. No, like, really, that that ideology, that thought is flawed. Even if you have tried lasers before and it didn't work, it could be that your stem cell count is too low in your body to elicit that healing response. And what you needed was something like Procell. You needed growth factors. You needed that to actually see the difference.
Let's talk about the aftercare,
Yes.
the serum 1 and 2.
Yes. Same great thing. We just want you to continue that cellular communication between treatments.
Is that what the serums are?
Yes, the serums, they have lots of great other ingredients that are, just going to help your skin regardless. But the main ones is that hero ingredients, again, same exact thing as the treatment, growth factor profile, and DNA repair enzymes. And that's going to be a big one too, especially putting on your DNA repair enzymes every day.
Oh, right.
If you
When's the best time to take it?
it's really, really interesting because we've actually been getting some people question, when should I put the DNA repair enzymes on? Because one of them is actually a light activated DNA repair enzyme. So if you put that one on at night, actually, because it's light activated and say you're completely in the dark, that's not going to be completely activated. But we really do say the best thing you could do is put it on morning and night. But if you were going to do it just once, I would say put it on in the morning.
Okay. Yeah. And should they continue? I know we hand off that small box for them to, try it for the 30 days till they come back. Is it better to just continue even after your treatments?
Absolutely. I mean, any amount that you're continuing, you're helping along that cellular communication process. So the more you put it on, if you can only put it on once a day, at least you're getting that once a day, right? If you can do twice a day, that's going to just be even better.
I would think twice, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you put it under your eye?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no,
Who doesn't need help under there?
it's really funny actually. My husband loves putting it on after shaving. And
Doesn't burn?
no,
No?
actually, one of his friends actually came to visit and had cut his face shaving, and my husband was like, "Here, put this on," and it just stopped bleeding entirely super quickly and calmed everything down. It's been such an interesting thing to just see the power of growth factors, on the skin and how quickly it can really just repair and have this anti-inflammation effect.
This whole thing sounds like it just makes your skin so much healthier.
Well, a lot of skin conditions, they're all based in inflammation. So when you are putting on something where the hero ingredient, the main thing it does is calm inflammation, these anti-aging growth factors signaling your skin to tone down that inflammation. Yeah, it's going to be all around an amazing effect.
This has been such a great discussion. I'm so happy that you come to the show and you really went in depth with those ingredients and what we do, and what Procell Therapies does for everybody. Tell us, say there's an owner in the area that would like to bring this into bring it on their menu. Who would they contact?
Yeah, they could go to procelltherapies.com. I think a great place to start would be education. And that's something that we push a lot is we want you to be educated first because yes, you could, just get the device and start, bring it onto your spa, but we want you to understand that skincare education, these things we're talking about, growth factors, how they work, why it will work so well. So I would say attending a webinar. We have so many webinars every week. Like you said,
so if you're not a client, can you do a webinar?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Our education is free. Our hair webinar on Monday. I think there's about 500 people registered to go to this. I know it's such a demand for that particular kind of education. But again, we have our introductory, just introducing you to growth factors, what they are, things like that, so that you can get that baseline knowledge and then decide is this something that I want to treat my clients with or not. But even just learning about it as an ingredient, I would suggest any esthetician to come to one of our webinars just to learn.
Yes. And also, if you're a customer out there and you're close to Madison, New Jersey, please come to Beneath the Surface Spa. We would love to do your Procell treatment, but we also will sell you the collagen, just so you know.
So many people come to us actually because they're, even clients are really interested in stuff like this. They want to know about growth factors. They want to know about the science too.
Oh, they can take the webinar. I love that.
But they'll come to us and say, I've been researching about this and I think it's the best. And where can I go and how can I find it? So you're definitely going to have a lot of consumers who are really interested just learning and
how many
about
states are you in?
All 50 states, yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So wherever you are in the country, definitely, go to the Procell website, I'm assuming, and put in that you're looking for a provider.
Yeah, we actually have a find a provider tool, actually that's new, that you can put your zip code in and you can find your nearest 4 Procell providers near you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And for those of you out there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss an episode.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye.